Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 14th September. So it's FOMC week, in other words, the Feds meet on Wednesday to discuss interest rates. We've got no news today. It may be one of those beginnings of the week where everyone's fearing to tread, but we'll see how these things pan out. Anyway, let's look at where the markets are technically. So, we've managed 3 up days last week, although didn't really hold on to the gains on Thursday so well there, but 3 up days, and Euro looks like it might have some more. It's difficult to see really from this 4-hourly picture. It's not really showing me too much at this moment. It's still really confined in a bit of a wedge-shaped pattern. Actually, coming back to that 4-hourly, it's same sort of pit. You'll just see the picture there, wedgy sort of pattern there. It could go either way, and that's the problem at the moment. So if we need the market to show its hand, maybe later on, if it breaks the trend at the lows there, we could be looking for the downside. Tight old range on Friday. You see the pivots are really quite pinched today, so it's just showing how tight the range may be. But if anything can kick off there, we might see a bit of action. But at the moment, it's not looking great there for the euro. The pound. Well, the pound on dailies, managed to put in a bit of a bottom. It double bottomed a little bit on Friday. Got the weekly pivot above, may draw price up. On RSI, I think I saw some divergence kicking across the lows there. So a bit of divergence kicking across those lows. It didn't really go beyond our target on Friday, that was that, and it's pretty much held up. However, again, it's one of those markets. I mean, yes, we've got the pivots are very pinched. We've got the weekly pivot above, which if it did start getting a rally or a bit of a catching the bid, it may become a target. At the moment, I'm still petering on looking for the potential downside of this market, but not in such a rush now. It's put this divergence in, and it's sitting there at support. We'll just have to wait and see how this rolls out this morning and then to the earlier part of the week. The yen, just continues to ride its way through this very tight range, not really doing too much. You can see it on a 4-hourly. In fact, it does look like it's just teetering on rolling over a little bit here. Dollar yen. It's already through its S1. It's about time it had a movement, but it's really not a clear move. I would doubt any of these moves would be particularly great, but it's not really driven by too much. It may just be drawing traders into the short side there, and then it may see a rally. It's just literally 1 minute past 8 as I'm recording this. So often we see these sort of just blips in the market. We'll see if all the other markets start becoming a bit bullish. Maybe this will have some legs back towards the lows of last week there. Side of that, Aussie dollar, it really is a quite old day looking in the markets. It's lots of consolidation. Again, Aussie dollar consolidated, nothing really happening through the Asian session there, just further consolidation, just waiting maybe for the FOMC. Maybe do we see a couple of days of this, or 2 or 3 days of this before we see the FOMC out. Again, though, looking on the more positive side, I put my positive hat on for the Aussie dollar. I still think it's a slight more bullish than some of these other currencies, and maybe a break this morning above those prior highs there. Could see it running up towards the R1 and Friday's highs, so just need to watch for that maybe. That's the Aussie. Canadian dollar. Just come down time frames here. Up the time frames. Daily wise, again, range bound on Friday. Just nipped back a little bit more on Friday, as so many of these markets did. It does look like it could be breaking this trend line at some stage. That may see more downside, and again, just fainting at least a bit of dollar weakness potentially at the moment. It'd be interesting to see if the markets do sell a dollar into the FOMC meeting. It may be that we see the beginnings of that today, but nothing that I can see at this moment thinking, there's a trade. So nothing now on the CAD either. So running out of there. Quick look at oil. Oil tanks last week, got a bit of a bid midweek there, but it's rolled back over certain uncertain times for oil. My normal bias is towards the upside for oil, towards $50, $45, $50. Maybe what date are we on? 14th. I need to look at the expiry dates, the current contracts, etc., and look at this more detail. But maybe it could pitch up, but there's so much weakness and there's so much overproduction. I'm not particularly keen on it at the moment. Looking at the S&Ps, then in that case, and the S&P's caught the bid overnight. We've seen some sort of bounces, a slight gap left behind in its wake. It's just a marginal gap from the close to the open. Maybe just too early to say too much on this, but it has, as I say, it's left that little gap there. Weekly pivot still, or daily pivot sits below rather. If it was to start selling off, that gap and that pivot becomes a bit of a target. I think it's a bit early to take too much out of this at the moment, but if it continues, it'll be pushing up towards that 60-minute 500, 200 sort of area potentially, back towards those highs, 34.20. Okay. Personally, would be sitting out of that for most of today anyway. Right, that's it for me. Have a great day. Bye. News-wise, there's none. Have a great one. Bye for now.